Welcome back everyone to Web Gaming Entertainment. My name is Walter, with you one more time. Now, I'm feeling a lot better. So I decided I wanted to just quickly touch on some things that I changed from the last video. The reason why I changed it because I took a look at it, looked at the video again, it really wasn't up to the standards that I have set for it. So I wanted to show you the changes I've made to the marketing and manufacturing side of things, make it a lot more easier to, I guess, as far as just the way it flows in the game, as well as for the sake of making it less cumbersome. So let's actually start right here by let's see, creating a product. I'm just gonna jump around just a tad bit. That's not what we're creating. Now the way the buttons are set up on the left hand side, the organization of it is going to be quite different. However, it's going to look the same, but the organization is going to be a little bit better, so everything will fit with each other. So management options will be together, employee related options will be together, different things like that, just to let you know. Okay, a lot has been going into the game. As I mentioned in the last video, there's a lot that you really won't be able to see until I actually showcase all the gameplay related to it, but a whole lot has went in. We're very close to the game being feature complete, and of course I haven't shown you a lot because we want to save stuff for the release of the game, but there will come a time where I will be showing a whole lot more, but also there will be YouTubers hopefully playing it as well. So let's take a look here at actually we're just gonna run through this really fast because there's a few changes, as I said before, to this process. Very minute changes, but significant enough to make it a lot easier, to make the flow of it a lot easier. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so we're gonna, as I always call these products, something interesting, I guess. But as you can see, I did change the process, like I mentioned before, as far as the windows that show at this point, or the order of the windows that show. So this is all the same, nothing changed here, but we're gonna make this go by quick for the sake of example. Alright, so here's the thing. First of all, on the right hand side we can see the progress of the product in each phase that it goes through until it is released. However, you get to choose when to release your product. So let's go ahead and speed up time as I talk through these other parts here. Now this is where you can look at all the products that you have created to date, and you can get all the information about that product, and there's gonna be more that comes in, but let's talk specifically about this screen here and all of its subscreens, which by the way is going to be quite different because we're going to have, you click on this will pop up, click on this, it'll replace this with this window. It's not going to be this long all the way from left to right because we're going to actually use that far one, or probably add something, another window here that's going to let you look at each city that this product is released in, so that you can make decisions specifically related to the city that it's in, to the cities that it's in individually. But as you've already noticed with this, it basically shows you the basic information of the specs of the product to the left hand side here, then your basic information right down here. Down here is where you'll be able to set the price of the product. I'm going to go ahead and do $125, and then we can't release it yet because the product is in development. That's why that's in red. So we click it, nothing's going to happen. Normally when you click that, it's going to release it, show something different, and let you know that the product is actually live. So at this point I added some tabs up here also, but right now there's nothing. We have no marketing campaigns created. But let's go ahead and quickly create one of those. So we can really literally, as I mentioned before, choose to market to specific regions, or we can market individually to specific locations of all the ones that are inside of the game. So we're just going to choose Seattle. Once again, try something. Now here's something that is different that I don't even know if I mentioned it before, but it is worth noting. Every type of avenue that you wish to market, like the radio ads, the publication ads, television, social media, internet, which again, social media and internet won't be available till later in the years, but there's gonna also be some other ones here that I have not added in just yet. But all of these actually target specific different demographics. So since we're creating a CPU, there's 3 different targets that we can pretty much target our product to, and that's business customers, that's hardcore, or your let's just call them hardcore customers, typically the people who are all in for these type of products. So if it's CPUs, these are high high level CPU fans, let's just say that. Then you have casual fans, and these are just your average daily people who really are not so much into tech, but they do use CPUs, so let your mind wander in any ways you want as far as like what that exactly means. But either way, there are always three different specific demographic targets when it relates to the CPUs and GPUs. There'll probably be different ones for computers and things like that. So these things you're gonna have to keep in mind. Now, just to let you know, because right now I pretty much have the functionality in for pretty much all these screens, but I'm gonna add another window here because when we click on a city, I want you to see the information about that city, like how many of each or is in that city, for example. So you're gonna know how many hardcore, let's say an estimate of how many hardcore fans, how many business customers there are, and I hate to say fans, let me use the word customers. Hardcore customers, business customers, and casual customers. I might change the word for hardcore customers, it doesn't really sound too great. But business customers and casual customers. So you'll be able to look at each city and see exactly what that city is made up of, and that way you can sort of better target your marketing campaigns and your manufacturing contracts and things like that, shipping contracts. So let's finish this up real quick. We're gonna go ahead and just designate the team that's gonna work on this particular campaign. We leave it at 3 months. Let's take it 4 months, it's fine. Very inexpensive campaign. Potential of that's going to be different. That's not exactly accurate because again, with the demographics, there's a population for each subset. So you got a certain number of the hardcore, you got a certain number of the business, you got a certain number of the casuals. So you will see that though in that window. That's just not there yet, but it will be there. So just so you know. But the greatest thing about all this is that the full functionality is in. We just have to add a few more windows to feed information back to you. So here we are with the campaign. It's going to show, and it's going to actually go as we it's live, so you'll see it progress over time. And typically every campaign triggers weekly, so as you can see it's set by weeks, so every week the process will go or will progress in a sense, so you'll see who you've reached that week. Okay, so we'll see that. Either way, you can have as many campaigns as you like for each product. So we can have a campaign in Seattle running right now, we can have a campaign in another city running right now, or we can have a campaign that includes an entire region, or we can just, do one city at a time, or do the entire world in one campaign. If we do the entire world in one campaign, that's going to be quite different, and I will show you how that will work later. Now though, let's go. We can't really do the shipping process because the product is not done yet. Right now, it's still in development, it's in the concept stage. We can market it, start getting the word out about it, that we're creating it, it's coming, get the fans ready to buy it. So essentially what the marketing campaign does, it does two things. It exposes your product to the public based on the outlet you chose, the team you put together to actually run it. And it's really intricate how that all works, and you'll see more minute details of things like that later. But it's a whole thing. There's a whole lot going on behind the scenes to sort of the algorithms for that, and I'm gonna leave that to you guys to figure that out and sort of use, come up with your own strategies on how to maximize and whatnot. But the campaign, the primary focus, or the thing that's happening with the marketing campaigns, is you are exposing your product to the public. Secondly, you're creating hype for your product. So there's two things going simultaneously, and it all depends on the skill set of your team, which is, you can kind of use your imagination as to what that means. It's essentially saying how good of a campaign they can put together. If they can put together a campaign that really wows the potential customers, and that's going to build hype. In addition, however good the outlets that they choose are, and some luck is involved there as far as who will actually hear about your product. But there is certain calculations and algorithms in there that lends itself to, actually it's a lot, almost all of it is in there that lends itself to some really different strategies if you depending on whatever you want to do and how you want to approach it. So it's pretty good. It's pretty cool, actually. The whole marketing campaign side of things is pretty cool, how it works and how you will be able to manipulate it in different ways to achieve the goals that you have set for yourself. So as you can see, 1 week has passed. I might change this information. Some information you really don't necessarily need to know. But for example, the location demand, that is going to be the demand in the specific city. However, what I'm going to do is probably elaborate or expand this a little bit, because I want you to see the demand from the business customers. I want you to see the demand from the hardcore customers. I want you to see the demand from the casuals, because they're different based on your product and how it appeals to them, because they each want something different from a CPU. And I'm just going to talk about that a little bit. So your hardcore CPU fans are much more interested in how powerful the CPU is, how fast it is, amongst other things. Your business customers are interested in those things, but the number one thing that business customers care about will be the multitasking. How many processes can it do at one time? Okay, because businesses are much more about production than your average customer. Because your hardcore customers are more about, you think of them more as like your gaming community, or people who do a lot of multimedia or high-powered computer activities. Let's just think of it that way. Your casuals pretty much don't care so much about how powerful it is, how fast it is, but they do somewhat care about the multitasking, but they primarily care about the cost to quality. So however powerful they can get at the most reasonable price is what they're concerned with. So all these little things you have to think about when it comes to making your CPUs. Who do you want to target? And then you have to sort of tailor your marketing campaigns in that direction to give your product the best chance of being successful. It's pretty cool. Now, yeah, and that's pretty much essentially the main idea behind the marketing campaigns, as you can imagine. Now, we're gonna go over to the marketing campaign, but of course, before we can do that, I have to finish the development of this product. So we're right now 2 weeks into development, have 2 weeks left, and then we'll be off to the Q&A stage, where the team is pretty much working on quality and assurance, and making sure the product is durable, making sure that it's user-friendly. Well, actually, there's different things. I meant to talk to you guys about that too. And I know I'm sort of speaking fast, but while this is going, I can actually explain it a little bit more to you, so that you can understand exactly how it's going to play when the game releases. So we remember that there's 3 phases to development. We have the concept stage, we have the development stage, and then we have the Q&A stage. The concept stage is when the team is pretty much preparing the product, so they're working on the infrastructure, they're working on quite a few things, and I don't want to go too much. Well, actually, let's see. Yeah, I'll go into it, because I don't want to give away everything. I want you guys to learn the game as you play. But either way, in that stage, you pretty much are thinking about, they're creating the infrastructure, creating how well and how potentially good the product can be. And the development stage is when they're actually making that happen. So typically you will want to spend most of your time in the development phase. However, it depends on the makeup of your team. So there's quite a few things you have to juggle there, which actually lends itself greatly to strategy. But then during the development stage, as I said, you're pretty much making the product to specifications. And based on what you did in the concept stage will greatly impact how good your development stage will be. After the development stage, you go into the Q&A stage, which is essentially where you proof the product, so to speak. So you're looking at maximizing how durable the product is, which also takes place during the development stage, by the way. How durable and how solid the product is, so that you don't have a lot of your products breaking down on your customers, and then they have to send it back or call customer service. That directly affects how many phone calls you get during as far as customer service and tech support. So Q&A stage also impacts a little bit of the user friendliness, because you go back over and make sure that operating that product will be easier for your customers. It also makes a difference. That actually impacts the customer service calls much more than anything else. The durability impacts the tech support calls. So you can get 2 different types of phone calls from customers: tech support and customer support. So, and we'll talk about all that soon. But it's pretty cool how everything works together. And depending on how good the product is that you create, you can actually make your life easier, or make the life cycle possibly longer for that particular product. So that's that. I'm not going to dig too much deeper into that, but right now we're going at normal speed. You need to be going at fast speed. I'm going to actually jump to the end of the product development stage, and then, or I'm sorry, yeah, to the end of the product development stage, and then we're going to talk about manufacturing a little bit more. Okay, so we're getting very close to the end of the Q&A stage, which is going to finish the product development stage. But there are some things I want to talk about real quick. Again, just to kind of finish off on the campaign side of things. As you can see here, it says total reach. So that means we've reached a total of about 2,650 people. These are the people that have heard about our product. Now, we still have 16 weeks to go, which is great. It might be less than that, actually. Yeah, that's the total length, right. So we have quite a few more weeks yet left to go. So that number, though, is very important, because out of that number is where we pull our sales from. We do not sell product to people who do not know about the product. So what happens is, based on your marketing hype that you've created, that determines how frequent the sales come in. So that means pretty much representing the excitement, how fast people want to get their hands on the product. But then there's the demand side of things, and that all that impacts, or that involves, a lot of things. So let's think of it like this. First of all, out of the total reach, the people that know about your product, only out of that number can we get sales. But you're never guaranteed. In fact, 9 times out of 10, you won't get the full number. Just because somebody knows about your product doesn't mean they want to buy it. So it's an algorithm that happens behind the scenes that determines, based on quite a few things, it determines who wants to buy the product. And I'm not going to tell you what that algorithm is, but it's an algorithm behind the scenes that determines, out of that number, who wants to purchase the product. And then, based on the hype, that's going to determine how frequent the sales come in. Okay, so the next piece to that is the manufacturing, because people cannot buy what's not on the shelves. So you have to ship product to the specific locations where you have marketed, because that's where people will be potentially buying your product. So here we are, we're at that point now. I'm going to just jump out and jump right back in. We can actually set it to release. I'm actually going to slow time down and pause it for a second, but we're going to just run through this really fast. So now that we've done that, it is time to create a new shipping contract. So what we're going to do, and mind you, this part, you can do you can take two different directions, or two different options at this point. If you are big enough where you can purchase or own or lease a factory, then your company can do this part. You don't have to go out looking for other manufacturers or other factories to mass produce your product. You can do this yourself. However, it's costly, as you can imagine, because you have to lease the building, that's an expense. You have to staff the building, that's an expense, and many other things, overhead, that goes along with that. So it can be very expensive. However, the more product you have, the more beneficial it becomes, and more cost effective it becomes to own one. Okay, so because outside of that, the more product you have, you're going to ultimately be having multiple contracts for your shipping of products, and that's going to start to get expensive. But right now we have one product. Let's go ahead and jump right in. We can do this without actually, it pauses automatically anyway, so we're going to go, actually not quite yet apparently. Right, because it's not released. We have to first release the product, okay? And what that means is we put it on the market, which says, okay, it's a product that is out there on the market, available for sale. So let's go ahead and do that. We already set the price to $125. That's what it will be. Now the product is on the market. Now we can effectively go in here and create. Now don't worry about this list here going all over the place. That will be fixed. It's quite easy. But we have, for every region in the game, you have different manufacturers. So, and I don't know how many I have. I think it's 10 per region. So these are the ones for North America. These are all the available factories or manufacturing companies in the North Americas, as you can see down here. So we have Technology Productions Company, And there's going to be more information down here. We just have 3 bits of information right now, but there's going to be plenty more, as I mentioned in the last video. But we have the Technology Productions Company. They have a decent reputation. I'm going to probably make that a little bit more involved so that you can understand what that means. But just for the sake of explanation, that determines how efficient they are, what the quality of their service is. Because when you do manufacturing, you have to imagine that for every product that gets manufactured and then shipped, there's a chance that, first of all, it's faulty. There's a chance that it, isn't quite up to standards. There is a chance that during shipping that it will get lost, or that it will, somewhere along the line, just disappear into thin air. Okay? So, this is a direct representation of that. This way you'll know, okay, if I use this company, this is the chances that I have of, getting all my product out there without any problems, quote unquote. Okay, so with that though, you have to worry about the service cost per unit. So this is what they charge you per CPU. Okay, and then this lets you know how many they can get out per week. And that matters because if you have to get a lot of product out fast, you want a company that can actually get a lot of product out fast. Otherwise, you have to wait. You'll be sending this amount per week until you reach your number. So if you're trying to ship like over 100,000 units, oh boy, that's a lot of weeks that you have to wait to get all that product out. And God forbid you want to send 1 million units out, or anything remotely in that window. Then you definitely want to look to the bigger companies, and that's why you see the sizes here. So we got the smaller companies which ship a smaller amount out, or smaller factories, smaller warehouses, and you have the medium ones which ship quite a bit more out per week, and then you also have the large ones which ship. Well, this is interesting. I'm surprised that that's a large and they ship that little. Yeah, we'll fix that. Chances are it's not really a large one, but we're gonna fix that. But either way, you get the idea. And let's see. Typically, I have to adjust some things too, because for the reputation of the quality, that directly affects the service costs as well as the size. Sometimes for how many they get out per week, that affects the service costs. So for the sake of this example, we're a small company. We're just trying to ship out a few things to get a certain number of product out. Now mind you, I did start off with $5 million in this game, but the game won't start. You won't start with that much. You'll start with probably 100,000, if not less, if not a little more. I haven't quite decided on that sweet spot yet. But either way, we're gonna choose these guys, and then now the fun part, we get to choose how much we want to send. Now I did change this part up a little bit because this is the part that was a little bit cumbersome, and yet still there's some design changes I'm gonna make, but the functionality is fully in there. So this here one is an easy way. For example, if you market it to a bunch of places, instead of having to go to each one and determine how many you want, if you click this, it's going to send out 500 it's going to increase by 500 increments each location's designated amount of units to receive. So if I had Seattle and another place, every time I click this, it would go up by 500 per location. It will be reflected here, and then whenever you click on this, you'll see that that's what it would show here. So right now, if I had another city, this would probably show 4,000 with 2,000 going to each location. And of course over here, you'll see this. Now there's one thing you don't see, which is down here. You get to designate if you want to pay the total amount up front, or if you want to finance the amount weekly. It might change that to monthly, we'll see. But right now, that gives smaller companies a chance to compete. Haha. So when you start out the game, you have a better option of, jumping right in and getting some product out. So right now, it would cost us $2,554 weekly for a year. By the way, this is only for a year. Every contract would be a year for all these manufacturing companies. Nothing more. So whatever the total cost divided by 52 weeks will give you your weekly rate. So we're gonna ship more. We're gonna go ahead and give or ship out about 40,000. Now I'm gonna make another button where you can actually jump by bigger increments, but right now this is what we have, so I'm gonna actually click up until 40,000. So we're gonna send a total of 40,000 units. Our total service cost is $181.17. Now that's the service cost, so per unit, or well, this amount per unit. And that gives us this. Actually, I think there's something else included in that, but I'll figure that out. Either way. And then the materials cost, that's how much it costs to manufacture each unit. So this is just pretty much the materials that you need to provide the manufacturer to actually create your CPUs. So this is an expense that you naturally will have regardless if you outsource or if you do it from within your own company. Of course, if you do things within your own company, you would not have the service cost because it is your company. So that's one area where you would save too. Now, if we did this straight out by purchasing out this contract straight out, it would be $2 million. We don't have, well, technically we do have that, but for the sake of example, as if I was starting out as a small company, which essentially I am, we're going to go with the leasing, and it's only going to cost us $51,000 per week that we'll be paying this manufacturer, which is Technology Productions Company. So let's go. Let's go ahead and start campaign. It's going to populate in here the next time we come in. We'll look at that. We have a total amount of $40,000 that we're shipping. Oh, actually we use Fitted Pre-Production Company. It didn't show, but that's okay. We'll take it. Units shipped. We haven't shipped any just yet, but they're in the process of doing it. It goes by week as well, just like the marketing campaign. So every week they'll ship some out based on their max number. Also, units left to ship. This shows you how many more they have left to go. And bingo, we're good. Now we have the information we need. Now these tabs, just so you know, will be able to show you. If you click on all, you'll see campaigns that are active and campaigns that have completed. If you look at the ones that are just, or click on completed, you just see the ones that you've done already that are no longer active, and then obviously active, the ones that are active right now. Same for this side, for the manufacturing over here. So now we, pardon me on that. Now we have the product is actually out there. We're still actually running our campaign, our marketing campaign. We're reaching more and more people. The location demand is low. That is going to be different though, because what it's going to show you is the ratio of supply and demand. So what you'll see is the potential buyers, or how many people want the product versus how many you have on the shelf. So if you don't have enough product on the shelves, that little thing right there is going to let you know that you need to produce more. You need to ship more products there because there's a low supply. Of course, then there's the flip side where you got more product there than you have demand. Then that way, this will let you know as well. Okay, you got product sitting on the shelves. Okay, not making you any money. So that is that, folks. Let's go ahead and wait. This time now the sales are in there. I'm gonna go ahead and speed up time. Again, it all happens every week. Every Monday in the game, that's when all of your income and expenses will calculate. And you'll see, well, in this particular case, this window is going to be the window that shows you all the income for the products that you have on the market right now. Now, this is overall income. So from every location that you're selling, each product, you'll see that represented in the total sales here. So this product is our product, which we can click on it and to bring this up, by the way. This is our product, and it's going to show you the total sales from worldwide. So it's not going to show you each location. You're just going to get one of these for this product, and it's going to show you the total sales. But again, you can click it, come in, and there's going to be another window where you can see every location that it's actually in. And as you can see, it just updated there. We just made 110,000, which is a pretty good number. We spent, and we're spending quite a bit because we spend about 51,000 a week. And of course we had the service charge or cost that I think it's combined inside that weekly rate. So we're spending about 51,000 a week. So we actually made a profit just now, which is cool. And it's going to reflect every Monday. So you'll see this update before it actually hits. So this is what you will be getting. Well, funny thing is this actually accumulates, so I wouldn't want to approach it thinking like that. So this is just to show you how much you're making. And then there's going to be another thing here where you can click it and you can see the timetable of sales. So you can see if you're still increasing in your sales or if you're starting to decline. And there's a whole bunch of information that you can look at with each product to see, or to sort of evaluate its performance on the market. And that's going to be fun because we're going to go to the map window again too, and you'll be able to click on each city and see every product you have in that city and sort of evaluate its performance in that location. So that's going to be fun. Can't wait to get to that. And so that's pretty much where we are now. I'm so excited because that is all in. Now this month we're working on AI. We're getting all the AI in, everything, so that your competition will be there now. So now our product won't just make sales just because it's the only one on the market. It's going to be competition. And right now it's set up where every city, every sub customer group actually evaluates every product in their city. So what they'll do is they'll rank based on their own criteria each product in their city. For example, every CPU that's released in Seattle, all of those sub customer groups will look at those products individually, by the way, and determine and rank them, actually. So they'll rank them, and that will have a direct effect on how well you do, because it's not just enough to have a good product. You got to actually have a product that is desirable or more desirable than your competitors. So that's going to be a fun part that I can't wait to show as well. But I had to do this video over, guys, because first of all, I sounded so sick in the last video, but I'm feeling much better. But I really didn't show you a lot. I felt like it was a lot that I left on the table there. I was weak. I felt so under the weather, but I had to get that out. But I felt it was the best thing for me to do to get this to you today. So it's almost like 2 weeks in a row. It is 2 weeks in a row that you're going to get a video explaining where we are and where we're going. This month, as I said before, we are absolutely working on all AI. I'm actually dedicating this entire month to the AI, so I won't be doing anything else but AI for the most part. Now, of course, I still have the windows to add it, or the windows, but the scenes to add in at the beginning of the game, where you set up your company, you set up your avatar, your CEO avatar, and things like that. That's coming in as well, but I'm assuming that's going to be in May, along with adding the rest of the offices in the game and all that other jazz, getting some, finishing up the modeling for some of these things. Like the cars, as you see, those are not the final cars at all. Those are placeholders, and I'm planning to have some pretty decent looking cars. See what I can do. Either way, though, there's still quite a bit to go, but as I said, the window is between June and October. I'm going to say that again. It's the window for release of this game is between June and October. I gave myself that window because this month is quite critical. The AI has to be perfect. So I'm giving myself room to make sure that happens. Because if I stick to deadlines, then I sort of paint myself into a corner. However, I fully intend to hit that deadline. So thank you to everyone who's been patient. I know this has been a very long process, a very, 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 very long process. We're actually close to 2.5 years, three years actually. I believe we're at 3 years at this point of developing this game. I started back in 2014. Well, that would actually be 2 years, but we're getting close to 3 years. I know for sure we're past 2 years. So we're close to 3 years. But either way, I've been working on it for so long. But that's what happens right now. I am building a team. I have a partner in crime. But for this particular game, this is a game I started without a team, or without my team. So I have to actually finish this one first. Our next projects will involve the both of us, much more than this one did, and that's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to that because I have a bunch of games lined up after this. But this game, guys, I'm so excited. This is a very special place. It holds a very special place in my heart because it's my very first game. So that's another reason for all the different things that cause the delays and things like that. It's a very big learning experience, but I love it. I love every second of it, and I thank every last one of you who've donated, you know, to the game and who's been so committed. And I appreciate you. You guys have no idea how grateful I am for you all, and I can't wait to get the game in your hands. So that's coming, guys. Thanks again. I am so excited for where we are today. Looking back, it was, oh man, we've reached a very, very big milestone as of today, so to speak, or as of the end of last month. And now we're in that home stretch, getting the AI in, like I said, and quite a few more smaller things. I'm gonna say that carefully, but a few more smaller things in, and then we'll be done, guys. We'll be done. We will be done that day that I can say I'm finished. Let's release it. Of course, I'm never finished because I'm gonna be doing some updates, adding more to the game after release, continuing to polish the game more after release. I'm sure there'll be bugs, so we're going to be squashing bugs after release. Of course, we're going to try to make sure we have as many bugs squashed as possible before release, but that's the life of a game developer. Thank you guys once again. I am getting long-winded now. I am going to end right here. I will see you guys in the next video and the next update. We have 3 more Monday updates before the next video. I'll see you guys then. Thank you.